Stop! I'm very sure this is Israel at war. I'm speaking to you today after Hamas broke the temporary ceasefire, the temporary pause, so that we could extract some of our hostages from their evil hands by launching rockets at us. And we've responded by starting up the campaign in Gaza. Since that time, as I speak to you, we are getting news and information of hostages that have been killed in Gaza at the hands of Hamas. This is a war we have no option but to win. However, we've just had a visit from the US Secretary of State, ANTONY BLINKEN, where he had a press conference where he was trying to tell the IDF how we should operate our operation in Gaza. And then I became privy of some information, inside information of Antony Blinken was invited into the war cabinet. And he told them, and I quote, "You can't operate in southern Gaza in the way you did in the north. You need to evacuate fewer people from their homes, be more accurate at the attacks, not hit US facilities, and ensure there are enough protected areas for civilians. And if not, then not to attack where there's a civilian population. What's your system and operation?" This is a non-military US Secretary of State. Our IDF Chief of Staff, Herzl Levy, told him, and I quote, "We follow a number of principles: proportionality, distinction, and the laws of war. There are instances where we attacked on the basis of these principles, and instances where we decided not to attack because we waited for a better opportunity. That is the moral way that the IDF operates in warfare, Mr. Blinken." Our Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, told Antony Blinken, "The entire Israeli society is united behind the goal of dismantling Hamas, even if it takes months." And Blinken replied, and this is the thing, "I don't think you have enough credit for that." Not enough credit for that? Was Antony Blinken threatening Israel that if we don't operate the war the way that Antony Blinken says it should be operated, that Israel will not receive the aid, the weapons that we require from the United States? You know, this takes me back 50 years. This happened, Antony Blinken said this the day after Henry Kissinger died. And some of the media over here reminded us that 50 years ago, Henry Kissinger held up much needed aid to Israel during the Yom Kippur War on the basis that he thought we were winning at that stage, and therefore he would put the political squeeze on us. Well, we weren't winning on that stage where he held up the money of the arms. And here we are, 50 years later, with another Jewish Secretary of State threatening perhaps, "I don't think you'll have the credit for that." This is history repeating itself. This is awful. When did Antony Blinken become a strategic military analyst? When did he decide to become a political activist for Hamas, ensuring they survive a war that they initiated? Israel, IDF, is the most moral army in the world. It is far more moral even than the United States armies in war. Even the British Army, Colonel Richard Kemp attested to that. And yet we have this situation over here where we have a Secretary of State threatening perhaps that we'll not get the weapons and the money in order to conduct this war. This is shameful. This reminds me of the President Biden telling us on the 7th of October, when we had been attacked summarily by Hamas, who killed 1,500 people in Israel, all citizens, and taken hostage, that he had our backs. Having our backs, President Biden, is not an America that leads. That is America that follows. Biden warned Iran at that time, after its proxies had struck US bases in Syria and Iraq 26 times, don't. He brought up 2 aircraft carriers into the Mediterranean that have stood there doing nothing ever since. And the score today then is Iranian proxies have struck US bases in Syria and Iraq 76 times, and the action that the Americans have taken has been virtually nothing, zero. This is what's happening of these countries like the United States, the great United States, who are telling us how to operate a war against a devious, evil enemy, and yet is looking weak around the Middle East and the world. But that's not all. I want to end with this. I just saw yesterday, this is why I wanted to make this video to you, what is happening in New York. We have seen tens of thousands of people from the Middle East marching through the streets of New York, shouting Allah Akbar and pledging victory to Hamas and to the Palestinians. We've seen it on the campuses as well. And then yesterday, I saw a keffiyeh-wearing man burning a cop's hat from New York, burning a policeman's hat. People who burn hats eventually burn people. I saw another man supporting Hamas tearing down an American flag. And I saw hundreds of pro-Palestinian people trying to prevent you people in America from lighting your Christmas tree in New York. This is where United States is right now. You have a progressive, regressive government that not only cannot or doesn't seem to be willing to go all the way to stand shoulder to shoulder with Israel, but is not protecting your own values over there. I dread to think what is happening. We are going to win this war with Hamas, and we need a better America, a more progressive, as in looking forward-looking America than you have right now. I am deeply worried about the state of affairs between the United States and Israel. I want an Israel, as I say, not to have our back, but is standing either ahead of us or shoulder to shoulder with us in the Middle East, because America, we are the only ally you have in the Middle East, and sadly, you are the only ally that we should have in the Western world. We're in a sad state of affairs right now. I want to make a video about how I see the new Gaza, but we are a long way to go before I make that video. I want you to share this one, because we are deeply concerned over here as we're setting off to fight and defeat the evil that is Hamas. This is Barry Shaw, The View from Israel, Israel at War.
אנו מכריזים בזאת